So, after taking a slight detour through the non-existent fourth floor of the hospital, we managed to find ourselves yet again stuck within the nightmarish Otherworld of Silent Hill. To make matters worse, though, we have no idea where Cheryl could be within this large hospital. I guess the only good thing is that we now have access to the stairwell, which means we can hopefully start exploring the second and third floors. And since we're already on the third floor, that seems as good a place as any to start. Problem is that as we are in a nightmare, we're going to have some new nightmarish enemies to take care of. And to match the hospital motif, our primary enemy is going to be these knife-wielding nurses. These horrible moving goiters on their back. Now, while they don't seem dangerous initially, they do have some tricks up their sleeves that we can't really sleep on. Namely, as opposed to most enemies we've run into, they don't stun quite as easily. So if you give them the opportunity to get up close to you, they will take an opportunity to swing at you and do a little bit of damage. Still, with all the pistol bullets we managed to pick up in the school, I think we should be fine for at least a little bit. And being as this is a hospital, I'm sure there's going to be plenty of healing items around. But yeah, since we don't really have any idea where to go for right now, it's just going room to room and trying to get some sort of direction and running into quite a few odd puzzles here and there. Guess we're going to need to be on the lookout for a screwdriver. But if anything, I'm at least glad we do have a map to mark off all of these blocked off rooms. Hey, even better, we do get access to a save point pretty much immediately. And along with this box of shotgun shells here, there's also an odd technological amenity in this room. A VCR. Seems a bit out of place considering all the broken and rusted items, but who knows, maybe we'll stumble across a VHS tape. Yeah, there are a whole lot of odds and ends within the hospital rooms. Screwed on plates, empty bird cages. Just seems to hint that there's going to be a much larger puzzle going on at some point in here. For now, though, it's at least good that I guess we haven't run into too many broken doors or locked and blocked progression. We actually do find our first puzzle item. A plate of turtle. Guess there might be some animal-themed puzzle coming up. Yeah, I could have swore I heard something back here, but it must have just been my imagination. But I'm trying to recall if there was any kind of clues that the mysterious woman in the church might have given us, where we might need to look inside this hospital for our missing daughter. I mean, if Cheryl wasn't any kind of danger or she was hurt, she could have gone to the intensive care unit on the second floor. Or she could honestly be in any number of these little, bedrooms, waiting rooms on the side here. Speaking of waiting rooms, you might recall that on each floor, where the elevator was leading out, was a little waiting room, and yeah. This means we can now access the elevator to go down to a few other floors. I think we could maybe go down to the first floor in the basement, but might as well go ahead and finish clearing out this floor before that. You never know when you might find something useful hidden away. Such as in this room, we find yet another plate. And it's a plate with another animal on it. So we have a turtle and a cat at this point. So in this final room of this hallway, stumble into what I believe was a storage room. And indeed it does have a few useful items for us, such as this box of bullets here. And it has a much harder to spot item that we do want to make sure and pick up, which is this packet of blood. Yeah, it's going to be an item for solving a puzzle a little bit later on. But we do also find a med kit, which is going to be useful. But I think that pretty much covers this entire floor. Or actually, no, there is one more room to go into. Just a little bit of a connecting room between the two different corridors. Seems to be something of a laundry room for all the linens and stuff for the floor. But yeah, nothing really too much to go on. A few key items here and there. And that VCR. Yeah, on to the second floor we go. Now, something you might start to notice as we fight more and more of what the game calls puppet nurses is that some of the nurses are wearing different colored cardigans. Now, strangely enough, even though the hospital is fairly big, the developers decided that they needed to include different rankings of sorts for all the different nurses that you fight, and their cardigans are actually supposed to denote the different levels of difficulty of the nurses. I think green being the, beefiest of all the nurses, and I think there's two different variants of blue. You might notice that last nurse went down in just a couple shots, while the other blue nurse before went down in a couple more. It's honestly a very slight difference. So our radio is reacting to something in here. It's causing a squidging noise. Doesn't seem like Harry can get too good of an aim on these tentacles, but it does seem like the tentacles are pretty interested in that pool of blood. Gives me an idea of how we can distract these tentacles away and get that plate in the wall. This plate kind of drops the animal theme and instead gives us a hatter. So, a turtle, a cat, and whatever a hatter is. Now, for those that, probably read any children's literature, those characters might seem a bit familiar. And we'll become even more familiar as I think we find the last puzzle piece. Though this will not be the room where we will be finding that final plate. Instead, we find, I guess, what is our missing lighter? Yeah, remember in that very first alleyway, Harry did happen to have a lighter on him, but it seems to have disappeared since, but I guess we've now reclaimed it. And there's no bathroom access on this floor, and even worse, yeah, there's no using these big double doors to get over to the second corridor. Even more oddly is this Grim Reaper's list. I kind of glossed over it whenever we looked at the previous just white placard that was completely empty, but yeah, just a list of names and numbers, and I don't believe we have any use for them. Seems a bit of an odd thing to include. But here we have something of a more obvious puzzle. Got a heavily decorated door and a little bit of a poem. Clouds and sky. Tangerines that are bitter. I suppose that would be an orange. Lucky four-leaf clover. Violets. Dandelions, it's yellow, I assume. Unavoidable sleeping time, I guess that would be night. And liquid flowing from a slashed wrist, getting a bit grim there. That would be blood, so yeah, each one of those lines has to do with a color. And looking at this door here, we see that it has 6 panels, 4 of which are missing items, and each of the 4 that are currently there have colors. And what you know it, each one of the plates that we've gotten so far, each does have a color. Seems like the whole Alice in Wonderland theme that it seems to have just seems to be a bit of an afterthought. Getting a feeling that the primary thing we are going to want to focus on with those are the colors. Still, with this door locked to us and us still missing a plate, the rest of the second floor is blocked off to us, but that does leave pretty much all the first floor and basement to check out. Does kind of make you wonder, though, why the going back to children's literature. I mean, there was the Wizard of Oz themed keys early on, now the Alice in Wonderland themed plates. Seems a bit of odd security for this strange nightmarish world. So the game decides to be equal opportunity, allowing us puppet doctors as well as puppet nurses to fight. They are slightly slower than the nurses and have slightly more health. If anything, they're more just a model swap, if that. So yet again, no bathroom access, but I think we should be fine. Also, additionally strange is that supposedly these nurses and doctors are supposed to be wielding scalpels, but yeah, I don't really get any kind of surgical precision feel from the bladed weapons that they're carrying. Plenty of doors to start exploring, so let's go ahead and get started. Definitely, if you are not ready on the trigger, you can start taking quite a bit of damage in these close corridors with the doctors and nurses, but yeah, I think this was the room, or the door leading into the room where we met Dr. Kaufman before. I wonder if he managed to get pulled into this nightmare with us. Probably just have to be on the lookout for the key for that door, though. Nothing really in here. Not even a good view out the window. Yeah. Guessing that's just my imagination again. It does kind of make you wonder at this point, though, just what happens to the outside world whenever we're in this nightmarish otherworld. I mean, most of the time the glass is too dirty and dingy to get a good look outside, but I mean, are we in our own little pocket dimension or something? So yeah, considering how much I've been unloading into all these doctors and nurses, our handgun bullet supply is dwindling just a little bit, but still not too bad. Well, no, I think we're still doing pretty good supply-wise. Kitchen there is a doctor trying to sneak a snack, but yeah, it's a bit hard to tell and also a bit hard to aim due to the camera angle. But like I said, still doing relatively good on supplies. I mean, obviously, quite a few of the rooms have been clearly optional, but it honestly never hurts to explore. Especially given that we have been on the lookout for an item, and it just so happens that it's right here in the director's office. And it is the Queen of Hearts. So, yeah, if there was any question further, regarding the Alice in Wonderland theme, it's pretty much solidified now. So you might recall previously these vending machines are broken, but if you do your due diligence in checking them out in this other world, you are given a nice little cache of 3 health drinks, which is, you know, not too bad for pretty much no effort. And yeah, you know, since we're already down here, we do need to check out the basement. I mean, it can't really be that bad, right? It's actually worse than you might think. So, the nurses do have 2 forms of attack. They will slash at you and they will grab you. The grab doesn't do that much damage. It's mostly to temporarily disable you while the other nurse or another enemy nearby gets in a few swings. I think if you manage to not mash X to break out of the grab, it will start to do damage, but even then it's fairly minimal. It's just that in situations like these, it's kind of reminding me that the pistol is maybe not up to the job that we need, and need something with a little bit more stopping power. And honestly, we've gotten quite a few shotgun shells, so why not splurge a little bit on the violence? Now, in the generator room, we don't have to restart any power. You do definitely want to make sure and head in here because of this very large hammer here. Yeah, this is a very imposing melee weapon, and it will pretty much be the strongest melee weapon that you're going to be getting in the game. Normally, I would be all about going ahead and equipping it. It's just it has a few drawbacks. We'll be seeing what those are in just a little bit. Just in the final accessible room here in the basement, I do want to keep my shotgun equipped. Yeah, there is an unexpected pincer attack here in the morgue. And the close-range shotgun blast shows just what these nurses are made of. And then they are still pretty beefy, but against two close-range shots, they don't really hold up. So, the emergency hammer. The description says that it is difficult to use, but in reality, it's pretty much the exact same as the lead pipe, just slightly longer, and pretty much the exact same attack pattern. The one main primary drawback of the weapon is that since it is so heavy, Harry is not able to move while he is in the ready-to-attack position. Most of our other weapons, whether it be the knife or the gun, allow us to still move around while we are ready to, raring to attack. Not so much with the hammer. Still, we'll keep that on the back burner of our mind for right now. Instead, let's focus on solving this door puzzle here. Now, we already know, I guess, what these colors are supposed to denote and relatively the order they are supposed to go in. It's just keeping in mind that upper left-hand panel is not really the start of the poem. The start of the poem, as you might recall, were the clouds. Instead, the red, which symbolized the blood, was actually the last line. So that upper left-hand panel is actually the final panel of the poem. Instead, the poem itself went, I think, clouds leading into sky, so sky blue. And I think the yellow for the dandelions was between the violets in the garden and the darkness of the night. And the final, the green hatter plate, was for the four-leaf clover. There you go, all solved up. Really, the only difficulty was in realizing that, the upper left-hand panel was not, the first line of the poem. Yeah, we now have access to the latter half of the second floor. We now get to see just how great this emergency hammer is at taking care of these nurses. I mean, even the green cardigan-wearing nurses here go down to the ground in just 2 overhead swings. And that's compared to, 7 or 8 handgun bullets? Yeah, technically, I could have gone straight down to the basement and gotten the emergency hammer right away. There was nothing really blocking us from doing that. And it definitely would have made our trip through the hospital a little bit easier, but never hurts to have a little bit of tension, and never hurts to burn through some of that handgun bullets burning through our pocket. Still, it doesn't really bode well. I mean, as this is the last area we haven't really explored in the hospital, I can only hope that Cheryl is indeed somewhere around here. I mean, this is where that woman in the church said we'd be able to find the girl, right? So while there are no immediately obvious items in this room, it is good to make sure and pay attention to the fact there is this clean bottle here on the gurney. As it is an item that we are going to need in the future. What's really left now is the ICU. And while I'm sure Harry would be more than happy to find Cheryl anywhere in the game, as a parent, I would be worried if I ever had to find my child inside the intensive care unit. Especially an intensive care unit that is right next to a massively large bottomless pit. Still, no such luck. No sign of Cheryl, no real other place to go in the hospital. There is an item on the gurney here. And it's a key back down to that one locked room in the basement. Guess we could find something down there, right? Back down to the basement we go. I mean, if anything, considering that it is a storeroom, we're bound to find some usable items down here. And indeed, amongst all the disused bottles of mysterious liquids and things, we do find a couple things. Nice little box of handgun bullets, as well as some additional shells. But those are all fairly basic items, nothing of real interest. And next to the cabinet here, there seems to be some weird markings on the floor. And there's nothing of interest inside the cabinet, but if we go off to the side, we are given the option of pushing the cabinet. Yeah, it seems that somebody was trying to hide something down here in the basement. Not just within the basement itself, but within some sub-basement level. Problem is that to get down there, we are going to have to do something about these overgrown vines. Just so happens, though, that we do have something that is apparently very flammable in this disinfecting alcohol. And coincidentally, we also have managed to find something that will easily ignite that alcohol. see what they were trying to hide down here in the sub-basement. Right off the bat, I can tell it is something important because of the level of security it has with all these puppet nurses. And secondly, I'm very sure there's something important down here. Mostly because they made sure not to list this very secret sub-basement on any of their maps. Even that secondary basement map we managed to find. Good thing is, I don't really think we'll be in too dire a need of a map down here. If anything, I just want to impress upon you the importance of learning how to use the emergency hammer down here. And also learning which situations are the best situations to use the hammer in. While the hammer does have that secondary, vertical swing option, it doesn't actually end up hitting multiple enemies at once and only ever seems to hit one singular enemy. So usually if you're having to deal with two beefy enemies at once, shotgun's usually a better avenue to go. That's a little nasty trap there due to the camera angle. But hey, that nurse was guarding this odd videotape here. And we did run across that VCR further up on the 3rd floor. But we do want to go ahead and finish exploring this floor before we check that out. And there could be other things of interest down here. Or just nightmarish rooms of breaking glass. Yeah, I'm trying to picture that even if they weren't, even if these, rooms weren't, warped and melded by the nightmarish otherworld that we seem to be in, I do kind of wonder what this place had been used for previously within the hospital.
What's this? Looks like someone's been here.
And I think that's the girl that we saw down in the basement of the school. Though I thought she was just a hallucination. I wonder why her picture would be down here in this sub-basement. I don't know, just more mysteries to deal with. But hey, we at least got the examination room key, which is that the room that Dr. Kaufman had previously been in, and that was locked away to us. And there doesn't really seem to be anything else in here to examine. Just a whole lot of questions to deal with. Still, before we open that door on the 1st floor, my curiosity demands that I check out that videotape that we found. few scattered words here and there, but not enough to make out what was really on that videotape. I mean, I guess I can't really assume that something in this Otherworld would have not been totally messed up from being in here, but I was kind of hoping for something more on it. Still, let's go meet up with whoever is waiting for us in this room.
Finally, someone else who's okay.
Who are you?
My name's Lisa Garland. What's yours?
Harry Mason.
Harry, tell me what's happening here. Where is everybody? I must have gotten knocked out. When I came to, everyone was gone. It's awful.
So you don't know anything either. Great. I just don't get it. It's like this is all some kind of bad dream.
Yeah, a living nightmare.
Let me ask you, have you seen a little girl around here? Short, black hair, 7 years old?
A 7-year-old girl. What, she's your daughter?
Yes.
A 7-year-old girl. I can't say that I have. I was unconscious all this time. I'm sorry.
That's all right. Do you know anything about all that weird stuff in the basement?
No? Why? Is there something down there?
You don't know? Don't you work here?
We're under strict orders never to enter the basement storeroom. So I really don't know. What did you say was down there?
Well, it's... Damn! My head.
What's wrong? Harry? Harry, let me help you. Harry?
Was I dreaming?
You were too late.
It's you.
Yes, Dahlia Gillespie.
Tell me everything you know. What's going on?
Darkness. The town is being devoured by darkness. Strength must overcome petty desire, childish sleep talk. I knew this day would come.
What are you talking about? I don't understand a word of this.
Believe the evidence of your eyes. The other church in this town, that is your destination. This is beyond my abilities. Only you can stop it now. Have you not seen the crest marked on the ground all over town?
So that's what I saw in the schoolyard. What does it mean?
It is the mark of Samael. Don't let it be completed.
Hey, wait!
And so we managed to escape that nightmare world. We met a new person and figured out the cryptic woman's name as Dahlia Gillespie. Sadly, though, we're just told about another location we need to visit. Still no idea about Cheryl, and Still no real answers about what is going on in this town, just that it's something dark and supernatural that's beyond all our understanding, it seems. Still, as we have been able to overcome the hospital and be given a new location, we will head there next time. Hopefully you will join me as we continue our search for Cheryl over at the antique shop.